Hey, what's going on, everyone? So I just left the theater and I saw What Happens Later. So let's get into this. So What Happens Later is a production starring Meg Ryan as Willa, and it's also directed by Meg Ryan, and David Duvalier as Bill. And she had a story to tell, so strap yourself in. So the scene starts with, so the first scene starts off with David's character, Bill, meeting Meg's character at the airport, which is the setting of the overall story. They were involved in the past, in college it seems, and they were in love, but they broke up because they were apparently from two different belief systems. Meg's character, Willa, seemed to be a hippie type of character, whereas David's character was more of a level-headed type of character, and she called him her ballast, meaning her balance. So in the setting of the airport, there's this really bad snowstorm that ties the two characters together in this series of events that kind of forced them to talk to each other, being that they were very much involved in the past. Bill left because he wanted to be with Willa, and he couldn't take that Willa was having sex with other people while at the same time trying to be with him. Whereas from Willa's perspective, Bill just up and left because that's what he does. But there was a overall reason. The story continues. You can obviously tell that there's still a lot of tension between the two and that they're still upset with how things ended because it ended so abruptly. And Bill kind of mentions that. Whereas Willa says, which actually stuck out to me, there's her side, then there's his side, and then there's the truth. In the second scene, Willa thinks that David just up and left without a word, and that's just what he does. And as they're catching up, David's character and Meg's character kind of realize that they are living two separate lives, but at the same time they have their own problems within their lives going on. Okay, so there's a shocking revelation that Bill brings up that leaves Willa silent, and that's that he wanted to be with her. And Willa confesses as well that she wanted a life with Bill. She wanted kids, she wanted to be off the grid in the woods somewhere, but she thinks that Bill didn't want that. And that's kind of where we get into the meat and potatoes of the story. I really do think Meg hit it home with this story. I do think it's beautifully told how couples can often miscommunicate what they want or not communicate at all what they want and just assume that the other partner just wants one thing whereas they want something totally different. So I think what Meg was trying to convey is it's important to talk to your partner and make sure that you both are on the same page, especially when you both are deeply in love with each other, because there could be room for misinterpretation. And of course, to me, since Meg is playing this hippie type of character, this is a perfect time for me to kind of bring up. I don't think that everyone is privy or believes in soulmates and twin flames, but I do think that this is very much a twin flame story because Bill and Willa seem to be very much still connected. And of course, they live two separate lives. Meg, I don't know if you believe in twin flames or not, but I really do think that you have something here that you were trying to tell that I think is beautiful, and you did an amazing job with it. I teared up in the theater just because I sort of related it to my own experience that I went through. It's a twin flame story. So the announcer at the airport who announces all the connecting flights and departing flights seemed to be the narrator of this story. And he also seemed to be the one who brings Bill and Willa back together when the conflict between the two arises, and then they kind of separate and go their own ways to kind of cool off. He really seemed to be the mediator between them because he shows what they could have had together, and had they stayed together and realized that they both wanted the same thing with each other, they were just misunderstanding what the other wanted and how they were going about it in two totally different ways. That's why I think they're twin flames. So I think if you do go see this movie, you're going to very much relate to it if you are on a soulmate / twin flame journey. So that's going to be my review of what happens later. I'll catch y'all in the next review. Take care.